And you thought Carson Beck was getting slept on. Get a load of this. Miami Hurricanes allegedly do not have a top 100 running back on their roster right now.
You are Locked On Canes, your daily podcast on the Miami Hurricanes, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
I am Alex Donno, University of Miami alumnus, co-host of Locked On ACC and host of Post Game on the Miami Hurricanes radio network. And thank you so much to the everydayers for making Locked On Canes your first listen and your first watch, even on a Saturday. We're available free wherever you get your podcasts. We're free on YouTube. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Football season is around the corner. Visit FanDuel's app today and start planning your futures bets right now. We're going to get a prediction from our special guest on Miami versus Notre Dame. We're 15 days away, guys. It's going to be here before you know it. We'll talk about Carson Beck at Miami, what he's done so far in practice and the expectations this year. We'll talk about sleeper games in the ACC. Miami needs to avoid those slip-ups this season. We got to talk about these running backs as well. Very happy to bring on someone you guys probably already know, and if not, you're going to get to know him today. He's an actor, comedian, podcaster. Michael Yo is with us. Michael, Thank you so much for being here.
What's up, Donno? Man, let me tell you, I am so happy to be on this show. I love what you have grown this channel into, watching it from 1,000 people to over 20,000 people, and you keep going, man. Congrats.
So you're not just an everydayer, like you're a lifer. You go back
I'm
to
a
the
lifer,
beginning.
man. I'm a lifer, and I love what you're doing, and I love the way you're positive, you're uplifting, and you're always bringing people together for the Canes. It's beautiful, man. It's beautiful.
And it's right back at you, man. Your energy is great. It's great for the program. And, of course, you do so many other things at a high level. I was listening to Michael back on Y100 in the day, and you're such a big Miami guy. And I know, Mike, you had a similar reaction that I had. And, by the way, shout out to Canes Insight, Trenton Breeze, for digging this one up. So all these awards are putting out their watch list, the preseason watch list. So the Doak Walker Award goes to the most outstanding running back in the country. They've got a 104-player watch list, which is like more than half the running backs in Division I football.
Yes.
104-player watch list. They don't have a single Hurricane on the list, right? We're very high internally on Mark Fletcher. Jordan Lyle had the freshman breakout last year. I think Marty Brown's going to be a good one here. Michael, they don't have a single Fletcher, Lyle, nobody on the 104-player watch list.
Now, you know, I try to look at both sides, right? I'm that guy that says, okay, why? But there is just this thing called Miami hate. And we know there's Miami hate. And I'm like, how could they justify this list? Because one thing we all know, and every expert, and I'm saying that in quotes, will say this: Miami has a top 10 O-line. Everybody agrees with that. No matter where you put them, you can put them top 5, but they're top 10. So you're saying what a top 10 line that Mark Fletcher, Jordan Lyle, or Marty Brown's not going to be in the watch list? That's just preposterous. It's absolutely insane, and it doesn't make sense because Mark Fletcher only ran the ball like 112 carries last year. You know, it had 5.4 yards a carry. Jordan Lyle was 7.4 yards a carry, and we all know what Marty Brown did, you know? So it's insane to think that Miami with a top 10 line is not going to open holes for running backs so they can be on the Doak Walker Award. Me and you could run behind the Miami line and be on that list. That's what I'm saying. That's how stupid this list is.
Yeah, and like one of my Locked On Canes insiders was trying to talk me off the ledge on this one. He was like, well, you know what? They probably figure Miami has a committee of running backs. These guys are going to take yardage away from each other. Okay, so they do have on the watch list 2 running backs from Syracuse on their watch list. Nobody from Miami. They got Will Nixon and Yazin Willis both on the watch list. They've got, and listen, these are both really good backs.
Yeah, they're good. Yes.
Yeah, and they have both of the running backs from Louisville, which, again, is fine. They got Isaac Brown and Duke Watson. But you're telling me multiple opponents of Miami's have multiple running backs on the list. Miami can't get one.
And this is the only thing I'm saying, Donno. This is the only way, because like I said, I try to look at both sides. The only way they could justify this list is the average star running back last year, right? They ran the ball between 250 and 350 times in a year. That's how many carries they would have. The only way they could be off this list is I think each running back will average about 120 carries, maybe one. Damian Martinez had 159. You had Mark Fletcher with 112, and I think Jordan Lau with 54. So, I mean, I think they're all going to go over 100 this year. So it's kind of like, okay, if you say they're not going to get as many touches, that's why they're not going to be on the list. I'd be like, you got an argument, but still, that's ridiculous. You know what I mean? Like you're really stretching to find a way to keep the Miami running backs off this list.
Yeah, and you made the best point about the top 10 offensive line because everyone seems to agree that's going to be a thing. And of course, having a top 10 offensive line is going to affect your quarterback. I mean, Carson Beck made a comment. Shannon Dawson shared it this week that he's having to adapt to have like that much time to throw. He's not used to that.
Yeah.
And Michael, I have noticed, though, we talked about on Locked On Canes, some of the national guys are starting to come around on Beck because the reports him in practice had been so good. So he's starting to kind of creep into more respectful conversations. What's your take on the type of season you expect QB1 to have at Miami this year?
First off, I want to say Carson Beck, because they all listen to your podcast, Miami and the fan base, we're behind you 100%, and we want you to win the Heisman. We want you to win the Heisman. We want you to be that first-round pick. Now, what I think about Carson Beck, I'm going to tell you this. It's very interesting that Carson Beck versus Cade Klubnik, one is supposed to be the first-round pick, like the first pick of the draft, and the other one supposedly is falling off the cliff. Let me tell you this. Carson Beck threw for 3,484 yards last year. Cade Klubnik threw for 3,639 yards, right? One is falling off the ledge, and one is supposed to be the best quarterback in the ACC. Cade beat Carson Beck by only 154 yards, plus Carson Beck had 36 drops.
Right.
36 drops.
And also, I know neither of them play defense, Michael, but Carson did beat him head-to-head. Right, there was also that.
And that, Donno. I mean, Carson's QB rating is at 80.9 and Cade's is a 78.7, but one's so much better than the other. Let me tell you something about Carson Beck. He is about to put on a show. Carson Beck, I think, is going to lead the ACC in passing. I think he's going to be the talk of the town. I think Shannon Dawson, like Shannon Dawson, through the blogs and stuff, I see he gets some hate. It's like, whoa, we're really going to see what he's going to do this year. The reason why I love Shannon Dawson is Cam Ward still talks about Shannon Dawson, which means Cam Ward really believed in the system and loved the way he coached, because Cam Ward could have not said anything else about Shannon Dawson after he left, but he still gives credit to Shannon Dawson. That's why I think Carson Beck and Shannon Dawson is going to do an amazing job. I think Carson Beck he's not going to break records. He's going to be great. And that's why I think in Miami, when you hear people talk about Carson Beck, especially from Miami media, it's kind of just level, right? Because Carson Beck is already good. It's not like and no disrespect, but it's not like Emory Williams. Like if he did great in camp, people are like, oh my God, Emory's looking great. Carson Beck, you expect him to be good if he's healthy, right? So that's why it's like, yeah, he's doing his thing. Yeah, he's throwing it around. Yeah, he's getting it to receivers. Yeah, they're going to be 8 different receivers on the field, and he's going to make it work because that's what he does. He's Carson Beck. We've seen it. And that's why I think the experts now are like, oh, wow, Carson Beck could be back. Yes, we all know about his injury. And like you said, I think the media is coming around because they're like, okay, Miami has a top 10 line. Carson Beck is going to have a lot of time to throw. And I think I think he's going to do great, man. I'm so excited that a guy that played against the SEC, don't ever question him about playing in the ACC, okay? This guy played in the SEC against the best defense. I think 8 out of the 10 best defenses last year. Right. So don't question him about, oh, is he going to be okay? Is he going to be nervous? No, he's not.
Yeah, it was 8 of the top 30 defenses in the country he went up against. And Miami last year only went up against 2 of the top 30 defenses. Beck at Georgia went up against 8 of them.
Exactly. So I think Carson's going to have a phenomenal year. I think Carson's going to shut it down, Donna. I think he's going to be the talk of the town. And it will not surprise me if he's the number 1 pick. It will not surprise me because 2 years ago he was supposed to be, and I think Miami offers quarterbacks freedom. Shannon Dawson is not a coordinator that's like, hey, if you come into my system, you got to do it my way. No. Hey, let's talk. What do you like? Oh, okay. Because I heard an interview with Shannon Dawson, and he goes, yeah, we threw in some stuff we never did for Carson because he liked it. I mean, but we all know we've had coordinators that were like, no, you run my system or you're out, and those coaches are no longer here. So now today's football, it's all about teaming up with your quarterback if you're an offensive coordinator and saying, hey, what do you like? This is what I like. Let's work together, because that's what it's about. And I think Carson Beck is going to be lights out this year.
Spot on, by the way, on the collaboration. I think that's huge.
Yeah.
So we're 15 days away from the opener. When we come back, I want to pick Michael Yo's brain, because you know what? I haven't even given my official prediction on Miami versus Notre Dame. I'm not sure if I have one ready yet. So maybe Michael can help us out. You guys want to keep it locked right here. We're only getting started on this brand new episode of Locked On Canes. Folks, as summer is winding down, there's something nice about getting back into a routine you love. And Wayfair makes it so easy to set yourself up for the season ahead. From bedding and linens to storage solutions for every room, Wayfair is your one-stop shop to refresh your home. My wife got me into Wayfair, and now all of a sudden I'm showing her all the stuff that they have on there. And no matter how big your items are, the delivery is fast and free, even for the big stuff. It's so convenient to find exactly what we need all in one place and at a price that fits our budget. Folks, this is the perfect time to get my home ready and yours, whether that's organizing, upgrading your workspace, or making weeknight dinners easier. Get organized, refreshed, and back to routine for way less. Head to wayfair.com right now to shop all things home. That's WAYFAIR.com. Wayfair, every style, every home. Thank you for making Locked On Canes your first listen, and we're so happy to be collaborating here with Michael Yo. It's not just Dawson and Carson Beck collaborating. We got the collab, and we'll tell you guys at the end of the show about a big live collab that me, Michael, and our good friend Gio Million are going to have right before that Notre Dame game. And so on that, Mike, I always get nervous before every Miami game, let alone top 10 matchup, first game of the year. What does your gut tell you about that week one matchup against the Irish? What are you concerned about? What are you confident about?
Okay, what I'm concerned about, well, first of all, I think it's going to be a blowout, right? No matter who wins, it will be a blowout. Let me tell you why. This doesn't happen much. Top 10 teams playing the first week of college football. In the last 6 years, only 3 teams have played. Florida beat LSU 44-23. You had, Ohio State, Notre Dame, and I think Ohio State won 21-10. And then there was the Clemson-Georgia game 10-3. So the average margin for top 10 teams playing is like 13 points. It's 13 points. So for the first week, at least, but I think this year there's going to be 3 top 10 games.
3.
So they're matching what they did in 6 years, right? So I think it's a blowout because one team is always not prepared enough. You know what I mean? And I think Miami will blow out Notre Dame. And I know everybody's saying it's going to be a slugfest. I don't think it is, because I listen to a lot of Notre Dame podcasts. Everybody we play, and let me tell you, Tyler Wojak from Locked On Irish is phenomenal. Yeah. He is phenomenal. He knows his stuff. And I've been listening to him for weeks. And it was all about Carr. It was all about Carr being that starting quarterback, and Minchie was supposed to be the backup. Let me tell you something, Notre Dame. And Marcus Freeman, I like you because you're half black and Korean like me. I like you, brother. I like you. But I will say this. If you expect a quarterback that can't scramble to beat Miami the first game of the season when you got that front seven of Heatherman coming, you are sadly mistaken. And I think Marcus Freeman knows that. That's why he didn't give the nod to Carr. I think Minchie, all the experts over there are picking Carr to start. I am telling you, and I knew this for weeks, Minchie will start the game. They haven't even announced it, but my prediction, Minchie will start the game because he can run. We know Miami's pass. They have a hard time with running quarterbacks. I don't think this defense will. I think the moment will be too big for that quarterback. I think he will start to fall apart when they're down by 14 points. And I think it's just going to be 2017 all over again. Now, what worries me about Notre Dame is they talk about their defensive backs. Well, our quarterbacks are throwing interceptions because of our defensive backs. Well, 2 of their main safeties are gone. They went to the NFL. So half your secondary is new too. So don't talk about us having a new secondary when you're doing the same thing. And guess what? You got a new coordinator too. So how is your defense going to react to that? The only thing I disagreed with Tyler Wojak, what he said, is he goes, I think their front 7 is strong, but I don't think their defensive backs can get it together. That's when I knew he didn't really know Miami, because our defensive backs were absolutely horrendous. No disrespect to anybody, but it was bad. It was bad. The scheme is better. The players are better this year. You got Xavier Lucas, Ethan O'Connor, and no disrespect when I say this, but when a freshman can walk in, OJ Frederick, and start and be your best defensive back when you were supposed to be developing players the last 3 years, that shows you the level of the defensive backs at Miami. And I think Zachariah Poser, I think Jacoby Tom, I think it's going to be lights out, and I think Miami blows Notre Dame out, and it won't be because the quarterback won't be able to handle the moment.
I do think the defensive backfield is going to be one of the strengths of the team this year. I think they've completely revamped that unit. I go back to what you were saying about the quarterback situation at Notre Dame. My gut is telling me it's going to end up being Minchie to start the season. But I will say, I think Coach Freeman is being smart about how coy he's being about this quarterback thing. Because guess what? For the next, 15 days, and it's already been going on for a couple of weeks, Miami's got to be prepared for both of those guys, 2 completely different styles. Right. So whichever one of Minchie or CJ Carr gets the start week 1, Corey Heatherman and company have to be thinking about more of a prototypical pocket passer and also more of a dual threat guy. So if Marcus Freeman, if he really wants to play this smart, he won't announce his starter till like an hour before kickoff.
100%.
That may go down.
But I think he will. I think actually he'll probably announce it tomorrow. Because you need 2 weeks to prep for your first game against Miami. It's a top 10 matchup in pretty much. And this is one thing I don't want to take a step back from this. I don't think it's a must win for Miami. I don't think it's a must win for Notre Dame. Why? Because Notre Dame lost to NIU, right? And they still made the national championship. So it's a thing where I think, though, just by the way this game is playing out, Notre Dame has a great front 7. I mean, they're strong, maybe question marks on linebacker. Their offensive line is supposed to be just as good as Miami's, but they keep getting hurt. So I really think it's going to come down to the quarterback play. And when you look at what Carson Beck has done in the past versus Carr or Minchie, I think it comes down to that. They're the lead. You can talk about every position on the field, but when it comes down to it, when the game is on the line, if it even gets to that point, which I don't think it will, it's about the quarterback in big moments. And unless you've been in that, it's hard. It's hard. It's very seldom a freshman or even a redshirt can come in and live up to the expectation on the first game. What I love about this game, I would much rather play Notre Dame the first game than the 8th game when they figured it out. You know what I mean? So I think Miami is going to be further along in that process than Notre Dame. That's my point.
Now, okay, so in terms of Miami's roster, right, because we could talk about the things we're concerned about from Notre Dame, but for Miami, do you have any concerns or question marks about the team that Mario Cristobal is going to field in a couple weeks?
It's, because of Heatherman. I mean, the dude looks like a psycho, first of all. He's scary looking. I love Heatherman, man. I mean, I would be so scared to play for that man. Anyway.
He's intense.
He's intense, and that's what Miami needs. Like I said, I have a friend that's an SEC coach, and he coached in Miami in the early 2000s when they won a national championship, the defensive backs. And he goes, he knows I'm a big Miami fan, and he coached at Florida State too, and which killed me. But anyway, he said in Miami, all you got to do, you got the players, let them play. Just let them react to the ball. Just don't make them try to think this out. This is a very talented team. When you have a team that's not as athletic, you got to outsmart them. When you have better athletes, you go get it. And he goes, the problem with Miami for a lot of years, they try to make the players think too much when they're physically and gifted athletes, way more advanced than the competition. And Heatherman's defense, I feel, because you hear it from the players, we just go get it. We go get it. Now it's talent on talent. You know what I mean? It's not like, okay, what am I doing? And now go. It's just go. And I'm going to figure it out when I'm there. You know what I mean? So I love it, man. I think the system is going to fit them. I think Miami has the athletes. And if you look at Miami's team, the defensive backs, I remember a couple of years ago, all the defensive backs were so small, short. Yeah. And like I said, I'm not trying to insult anyone, but look at this team. I mean, the defensive backs are 6 foot and up. Yeah. So it's starting to look like these players, next step is the NFL because they got the body size. Look at the line of scrimmage. Look at the line. Look at the trenches. I mean, it's completely different. So I think the weakness could be defensive tackles. We all heard about that. Linebackers, I know Mohamed Touré is doing his thing. Wesley Bassane is going to do his thing, but we don't really know, right? Because we haven't seen the system. I know Mohamed Touré's played in the system, but until I see that, I need to see like how the linebackers will play. But I do think the defensive tackles are going to step up. D-Lou, come on now. He's not going to let them be bad in that middle part. And I think Jason Taylor speaks for himself. Ruben Bain, Akeem Messidor. I really love that people are underestimating Miami's defense because I believe in the past, last year, people overestimated Miami's defense. So I'd rather come in this year like we are now than last year. But I think the defense is going to be very, very solid.
Oh, that's well said. Now, we all have the Notre Dame game circled, Florida game circled within those first 4 weeks, but then comes the ACC schedule. Which of the trap games concern us most? You want to keep it locked right here. We got Michael Yo with us on this brand new episode of Locked On Canes. Oh, I can't wait for this. August 26th is officially FanDuel Futures Day. It's a brand new holiday for football fans who live for bold predictions and preseason hunches. For just 24 hours, FanDuel is giving you deals on NFL season predictions. So whether you're calling your MVP, eyeing a long shot division winner, or you're ready to crown your Super Bowl champ before week 1 even kicks off, this is your moment. Dolphin fans, if you're bullish, they had a good second joint practice against Detroit. You're bullish, lock in your Dolphins Super Bowl preseason bet. I think I'm leaning again to Lamar Jackson for MVP. Think long and hard about these guys because you're going to get values on August 26th. Take your flyer on the MVP race, crown your champion in August, or parlay your division winner dark horses. Visit the FanDuel app today and start planning your futures bets now because Futures Day is one day and one day only. FanDuel, play your game. Thank you for making Locked On Canes your first listen. For your next listen, make sure you check out the portal. Our good friend Brian Smith, the recruiting overlord, talks all things recruiting, NIL, transfer portal. The portal is one of the newest shows in the Locked On family, and I get a lot of my info from Brian. Make sure you check it out. Like this show, it's available free wherever you get your podcasts and available free on YouTube. All right, so Michael, we all know, Miami has they've tripped up. They lost 2 conference games last year. I think the previous couple of years they were 500 in conference play. You look at that ACC slate. Which games do you feel like could be the sleepers, could be the trap games on that schedule?
I'm going to give you a big answer, and then I'll break it down. Every game is a trap game for Miami, Donno. Every
Correct.
game. Because here's the problem. This is where I want to see Miami, where a Syracuse, a Virginia Tech, and SMU is not a trap game. It's an automatic W. Like, let's be honest, because Miami needs to get to the point where these aren't trap games. These aren't tough games. And no disrespect to those programs, but if Ohio State had Virginia Tech, SMU, Syracuse, and Louisville on the schedule, they would consider that a win already.
Yeah,
it wouldn't need to be talked about. Miami needs to get to that point. Now, I will go because I know you need answer for trap games. I think Louisville is a trap game because it's after a bye week. I don't believe in history, right? I don't believe just because Miami struggled after bye weeks that it's going to happen again because so many different players are on teams now, right? But let's go by history. That could be a trap game. You got Syracuse after SMU. I mean, that's like, because I know Miami. I know Mario. Like Miami wants to beat SMU because they had a lot of ex-players and things like that. They're going to Dallas. The game I heard is already sold out. So that's going to be an event. I'm going to be at that game. So I want Miami to win that one. And I also think just always Virginia Tech. I mean, they're going there. They're going to be away. It's going to be cold.
We'll probably make it a night game, which makes it 10 times harder there with the Enter Sandman and everything that they
and colder, 10 times colder
right.
as well.
Right.
So I think those are the 3 games I would look out for. I mean, but SMU, to me, until we see it, everything in the ACC is a trap game because by history, which I tend not to lean on, we know Miami could beat Notre Dame, beat Florida, but the talk would be, what ACC team are we going to trip up on? What team that we don't know about, like a Georgia Tech, that we're going to just be like, oh, you know what? We're just going to give them that game. So that's the problem with Miami. And until we all see that the ACC schedule is not filled with trap games, they're all trap games. The only trap game that ever should be is Clemson. That's because Clemson's usually pretty good, right? Even though I think they're overrated. I don't think they're going to do as well as people think, but that's a whole nother podcast, Donno.
We might have to do that one eventually.
I'm telling you, because I'm going to say this about Clemson. How can a team be the favorite to win a conference where they wouldn't have even been in the championship if Miami didn't blow that 21-point lead? You're saying a team that ranked, I think they were ranked 40th in defense or 50th in defense, and their offense was okay. Like, how can you say this team, even though they got 80% of the people coming back, of a team that wouldn't even made the championship? So you're basically saying a team that wouldn't have made the championship is now going to make the championship because they won the championship. You know what I mean? I know it's kind of hard. To me, it's a long stretch that a team that didn't make, without Miami, and I hate the if game, but if Miami would have kept the 21 lead, I honestly think this wouldn't have even been a conversation, right? Yeah. Miami would have beat SMU, and Miami would have been the favorite. But I think a lot of these coaches, when they make these statements, I think it comes down to the coaching. Because what they're not doing is they're not looking at the teams. They're saying Dabo right now is a better coach than Mario. And I think that's why they're number 1 and number 2. I think, honestly, if the coaches at the same time today, if they flip teams, I think Miami would be favored. Because people like Dabo. Yes. The industry would like Dabo more than Mario right now. And I understand he has championships. You know what I mean? So I don't think it's a player thing. I think Clemson will lose like 3 games, 2 to 3 games. So that's my point.
Yeah, they did return 80% of their production, like you said, but then that was also, they basically returned the same team that
wouldn't have made the playoffs. That wouldn't have made the playoffs.
Yeah,
that wouldn't even made the championship game. How are you bragging about a team that wouldn't even make the championship game? That's my whole point. Whole point. Yeah. I don't want to go off on it. I go crazy about that stuff, Donno.
You made a great case. Now, okay, I can't wait we're going to, at worst, it's going to be 15 days before I work with you again, if not sooner than that. And by the way, Michael, I'm so thankful that you invited me to take part in this.
Yes.
Fort Lauderdale Improv, August 29th. So it's 2 days before the Notre Dame game. I know a lot of folks, obviously you live in South Florida, come out. If you're visiting South Florida for the game, come out if you're out there on Friday. Let people know, Michael, what we can expect and what the details are for this big show on August 29th, which will be live in front of an audience.
Yeah, so live in front of an audience. It's free to get in. Any Miami Hurricanes fan, come on out. Have fun at the Fort Lauderdale Improv. Donno, Gio, and Yo. It's called Donno, Gio, and Yo. It's the official Beat Notre Dame show. So come on out, support the Hurricanes. Like I said, free to get in. We don't want to charge anybody. We just want real fans there. You can ask questions. We're trying to get ex-players there, people within the Miami community that want to talk about the Canes. And it's just a good time. It's 2 days before the show. It's at 4:30, because I got 2 shows later on that night. But it's at 4:30, so anyone that can come is free, and we would love to see you. The club is going to be decked out all in Miami. We'll have free giveaways from Caneswear. I'm working on that right now. Or even have to buy stuff from Caneswear. We will have it all going down. So it's exciting. And like I said, you got to hit that RSVP link. It'll be probably in this description. And so we know how many people is going to come out. But, man, we would love to see you. And it's all about bringing this win home.
I love it. And I can't wait. So, guys, again, mark your calendars, 4:30 p.m., August 29th, Fort Lauderdale Improv. Michael, I can't thank you enough. And, dude, you're in like every TV show, and you've got your comedy shows. Let people know the best way to find you on social media and keep up with all of what you have going on.
Everything is at Michael Yo. And of course, I got my own podcast, Comics on Canes, where we put a funny twist on it and we just have fun. But I'm actually in Atlanta right now shooting a brand new TV show, a new game show called Scrambled Up that comes out September 8th. So look for that as well.
Dude, I love it. Make sure you follow Michael. And again, we'll talk to you guys. We'll promote it plenty before August 29th. And wow, we will talk to you again next time on another episode of Locked On Canes. We are part of the awesome Locked On Podcast Network. Your team.
That's right.
Every day.